TPS is only applicable to certain countries, and people from those countries, they can enjoy benefit of TPS. So just bear that in your mind before we move forward. So here, I'm saying TPS is a special protection, allowing nationals from certain countries to live in the US. The US government may designate a country for TPS if there is an ongoing armed conflict, such as civil war or an environmental disaster, which would make it difficult for the people currently staying in the US to go back to their home country. So the short things about this slide is that US government may designate some countries, probably because they have civil war or some kind of armed conflict or some environmental disaster, and it would be difficult for the people of those countries who are already living in America to go back to their home country because of this civil war or environmental issues to stay here. That's why it's called temporary protective status. This is temporary, it's not a permanent solution. Okay, so the question is, who are eligible for TPS? What are the eligibility requirements of TPS? Number one, applicant must be a national or a habitually stateless resident of a country with TPS. So I'm not going that detail into a habitual, stateless resident issue. This is a very complex legal issue. Just remember this thing. You have to be citizen or national of a country that is designated as a TPS country. Next one is be continuously physically present in the US since a country's TPS designation. You have to be physically present in America continuously. Continuously doesn't mean that you cannot go, outside of America at all. You may, but that is for a short visit. You have to be physically present for more than 6 months in a calendar year to be recognized as a physically present and continuous presence. If you have any question about this, we can definitely talk later, but you have to meet this requirement. Next one is have continuously resided in the US since a date specified by the Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, the same thing. So usually Department of Homeland Security, they designate a country for TPS status, and when Secretary of Homeland Security, they designate a country, you have to live continuously within America to enjoy the benefit of TPS. The last one, pose no threat to the US for nefarious criminal or national security related reasons determined by the relevant US agency. So this is kind of like a catch-all situation, meaning you are not a big criminal. You did not do any big crimes, or you're not there's no bar under the INA rule. So again, I'm not going that detail because it depends on person to person. It depends on your background. In general, if you have a clean background, you are eligible to apply for TPS. Not eligible. So some people, they are not eligible. So you are not eligible if, number one, found inadmissible under INA section 212A. Again, I'm not going that detail into that INA section 212A, but bottom line is, if you're not inadmissible to United States, including non-waiverable criminal and security-related grounds that I just mentioned a couple seconds ago. Number two is subject to any of the mandatory bars to asylum. When people come to America, most of the people, they can apply for bar, but there are some situations that you cannot apply for asylum. If you are ineligible to apply for asylum, you are also ineligible to apply for TPS. So what are those grounds? For example, um, and these are included but not limited to participation in the persecution of another individual, or engaging in the inciting terrorist activity. The same thing, you're not a violent person, you did not participate in any violent crime, any terrorism kind of things. If you are involved with those things, you are not eligible for TPS. Next one is fails to meet the continuous physical residence and continuous residence in the United States requirement. So that's the one of the main reason why people from countries that is already designated under TPS are not eligible to apply TPS, because in many cases they cannot establish that they had physical presence and continuous residence. So these two things you must meet. Number one, physical presence and continuous residence. That's the key issues when you apply for TPS. The next one is fails to meet initial or later initial TPS registration requirements. So again, it's not that just because you are from a country. So let's say Haiti. Haiti is a country under TPS. So just because you're from Haiti, you'll be automatically eligible for TPS. That's not true. You have to apply. You have to apply, and then Department of Homeland Security will approve your application. Only then you will enjoy TPS. So many times people call me and say, "Hey, I'm from Haiti. I should be under TPS." And I say, "Did you apply for that?" And he or she said, "No, I did not apply." And I said, "Then you are not in TPS. To be under TPS, you must apply with applicable fee and all the documents and requirements. Only then you'll be considered under TPS. Forms to fill up. So to apply for TPS, you must fill up the form I-821, uh, 821, application for temporary protective status. Also with I-821, you can also apply for I-765, which is application for EAD card. I strongly recommend everybody to apply for I-765 at the same time I-821, because that will save your time, because when you are in TPS, you are eligible to work. So why not you take this benefit? You can definitely apply for work authorization after your TPS application is approved, but I highly recommend you to apply at the same time. That will save your time and it will make USCIS people's life easy. All right, so required documents. So again, there is no like a fixed documents. These are like a kind of like a very important, but it's not that one of this is missing, your TPS application will not be approved. So number one, copy of your passport. So the copy of your passport will establish that you are from that country. Copy of birth certificate accompanied by photo identification. So a lot of time people from other countries, their birth certificate, their government constantly change the form or format of birth certificate. Try your best to keep the latest version of the birth certificate. If you do not have a birth certificate, definitely there are other documents that can establish your nationality of that country, but birth certificate is one of the strong document. I advise you to keep a copy of your latest birth certificate. Copy of another national identity document with a photograph and or fingerprinted issued by the country of your origin. Again, any kind of document. Also copy of I-94. So I-94 is a record of your arrival and departure to United States. So try your best to keep all the I-94s with you all the time. With you means like at your home. It will really help you in future. So additional and optional documents. So all these are additional and optional documents. None of these are mandatory, but the more document, and at the bottom of the slide I mentioned, note, the more evidence one can show in support of the application, the better. The more document you can submit to USCIS, it's better for your application. So let me read some of these things. Copies of medical record or school if they have information supporting a claim of nationality from a country with TPS. Again, medical report, school document. Copy of other immigration documents showing nationality and identity. Employment records, rent receipts, utility bill, attestation by church, union, or other organization officials who knows the applicant. So all these documents, these are really helpful, but nothing mandatory. Okay, so the TPS application procedure. The application procedure is very easy. You can do it online, which is very good. Which is very good. So you have to file the form I-821 with all the required documents submitted to USCIS online portal. Within 3 weeks, you will receive a receipt notice. Again, receipt notice doesn't mean that your application is approved. Receipt notice is just a receipt notice showing that the USCIS received your package. Then after they send you the receipt notice, they will send you another letter for your biometric appointment. Biometric appointment means like a fingerprint appointment. On that date, you will go with your ID. So it can be your passport, it can be a driving license, and original letter for the biometric appointment. So this is a very tricky thing. Please take the original letter from USCIS with you, including a form of valid ID. In terms of valid ID, I would recommend you to take passport, and probably both passport and your driving license. If you do not have driving license, try to take a state ID issued by the state where you are living at this moment. Sometime after you submit your application, USCIS may send you a RFE. So please don't worry. RFE doesn't mean that they're going to cancel your application. RFE means they need further evidence. That's why it's called required further evidence. They need more evidence of your nationality and your continuous physical presence in America. So just if they send you RFE, answer them properly, and after that, either you will get approval or denial. If you get denial, definitely there are some other options to do. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you get approved, meaning you are under TPS status, you are eligible to stay in America for the time mentioned in the approval notice. Also, you are eligible to work, that I just mentioned earlier. Cost, it is a very important thing, because we all care about money. So in case of re-registration for TPS, there is no fee for form I-821. So once you are in TPS, you can renew it for the time mentioned by Department of Homeland Security without any fee. For the first time applicants, there is a filing fee of $50, plus also there's a $85 biometric appointment fee if you are above 14 years old. However, there is a way to apply for waiver of these fees. So to apply for waiver of these fees, you have to fill up the form I-912, and then you can submit with your TPS application. So they will approve it and they will waive your fee. What happens if TPS is denied? So there are multiple options. Once your TPS is approved, that is great. If it is denied, then you can also apply for motion to reopen to the administrative appeal office. However, uh, in the denial letter, they usually mention about 30 days window period to apply for administrative appeal office motion to reopen. So you have to apply to AAO's office within that specific 30 days. If they do not give you any time to motion to reopen, then you can go to immigration court and apply for a apply for appeal for your TPS application. Also, you can also apply for motion to reconsider with the form I-129B. So yeah, there are three options: apply for motion to reopen, motion to reconsider, and appeal in immigration judges court. All right. Probable outcome after the expiration of TPS. So there are some outcomes. If your TPS application, your TPS approval is expired. So in most cases, Department of Homeland Security will renew your TPS status if they continue assigning TPS status to that country. If sometime they will not renew your application, but they will give you window to move to other kind of visas. So bottom line is, those who are under TPS, don't worry. Once you get TPS, it's most likely it will be maintained. And in general, Department of Homeland Security, they grant TPS status to certain country for 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. So also there will be an announcement for a termination of TPS where the status of the country TPS holders will expire. So let's say you're from Haiti, you have TPS, and US government is not going to not designate Haiti for TPS. They will definitely let you know 60 days before your expiration that hey, your country is not going to be designated as TPS, so please move to other kind of visa. So once you are in TPS, don't worry about that. You have other options.